لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا، وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته، أو إحسان فضلته، أو بر نشرته، أو رزق بسطته، أو ذنب تغفره، أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة. حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، وعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقم، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. And for the souls of the mu'mineen and mu'minat, especially the shuhada and ulama, please recite al-Fatiha ma'a as-salawat. Allahumma salli ala
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليهما الصلاة والسلام صلى الله محمد وعلى كن في الفتنة كابن اللبون لا ظهر فيركب ولا ضرع فيحلب صلوات. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, tonight we are initiating a series of lectures on Nahjul Balagha. I am sure all of you are familiar with the book by the name of Nahjul Balagha. In 4th century after Hijrah, on 359th year after Hijrah, in Baghdad, in a noble family, in a very distinguished and prestigious family of Sadat and ulama and literary family, a child was born who was given the name of Sayyid Muhammad. Their title was Sharif, so he was known mainly as Sharif Muhammad, and then his title which he earned later was Radhi, so he was known as Sharif Radhi or Sayyid Radhi. He was student of Sheikh Mufid. He lived a very short life, only for about 45 or 47 years. He passed away in 404 or 406 year after Hijrah in Baghdad at the age of 45 or 47 and buried in Qadimain. When you go and do the ziyarat of 7th Imam, Imam Musa al-Qadim alayhi salatu wassalam, it's just next door where he is buried. Very distinguished and very accomplished scholar who was equally respected in Shi'i and Sunni community. A man that who was almost you can call him genius. In that short age, 45 or 47, he left behind 40 books. He produced 40 works in his that short span of life, And all of those works are very scholarly and very important ones. But out of all of his books, this book, Nahjul Balagha, became the most popular one and most famous one. Initially, he started writing a biography of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. And as any author, when you want to write a book, so you make a plan for the book. You decide that what chapters you are going to write in this book, and then for each and every chapter you start collecting the resources. He decided in the end of that book he will list some sayings of Amirul Mu'mineen at the end. And this is a pattern normally when people write the biography or a seerah or a book account, life account of any big personality or particularly prophet or imams. In end, they list a number of their sayings. So when he was searching for those sayings of Amirul Mu'mineen, he ended up collecting so many and so interesting and so important sayings of Amirul Mu'mineen that he couldn't decide which one to take and which one to leave. And the kalam of Amirul Mu'mineen and the sayings of Amirul Mu'mineen finally made him to change his scope of the project or the initial plan, which was about writing the biography of Imam, and he changes the project to only quoting the sayings and the speeches and the writings of Imam. So there are many people who can write biography or the seerah book. Let me work on this. And Sayyid Razi was one of the most leading scholars in language. First of all, he comes from a very literary family. Baghdad at that time was competing with Cordoba, and it was competing with any other center of knowledge with Cairo. The Cairo and Cordoba in Spain and Baghdad, these were the three seats of learning and knowledge. So his time was the time of leading scholars. He comes from a family very distinguished and very literary, and then he himself was a very powerful poet, writer, very eloquent individual, respected by all. So when he started collecting the speeches and writings of Amirul Mu'mineen, he didn't just take everything which he found, although every piece of the speeches or the writings of Imam Ali was of very high quality, but he set some standards, and he said, I am going to only select those pieces of his work or his speeches or his sayings which is on the highest level of eloquence. So if you look at Nahjul Balagha of this work which Sayyid Razi produced, he didn't select by topics that this is Tawheed and this is Risalat and this is Qiyamat or this is Adl or this is or the other topics. Basically what he did, he selected those sermons of Amirul Mu'mineen which impressed him the most by eloquence, their literary value. And then those writings of Amirul Mu'mineen which impressed him the most. And then at the end, he made a chapter, which is the third chapter, where he says, these are the words of wisdom, meaning the small pieces of Amirul Mu'mineen saying. Mainly these are very brief sentences. That is the third chapter. So he compiled his work, Nahjul Balagha, in 3 sections. The first section, where he has the sermons of Amirul Mu'mineen, and he has 239 sermons in Nahjul Balagha. The first section of sermons has 239 sermons. Then he has second section, which is about the writings of Amirul Mu'mineen, mainly his letters. And he has 79 writings of Amirul Mu'mineen there. Letters, wills, and whatever Amirul Mu'mineen wrote by qalam. So he has 79 letters. And then at end, this chapter, which now we are going to deal with, has 480 sayings. 480 plus 9. So when he was writing these brief sayings, and in middle of that, he started a new chapter. And that chapter was that I have some sayings of Amirul Mu'mineen which need explanation. Those are difficult for a regular individual to understand. And I need to make some commentary on those sayings. And then he started quoting those, and those are 9, altogether 9 sayings. So 480 plus those 9, 489. That is the last chapter. We are going to, inshallah, talk about these last chapter. Each and every, again, these brief sayings which he has collected, they are not topic wise. Sayyid Razi doesn't make the topics and then go with that topic. He is just randomly putting all those brief sayings one after another, just like as you see in garden, and you see all those different kind of flowers there. The small, the big, the white, the red, the yellow, and that make it more beautiful. So these 480 sayings are mentioned without any theme or without any topic. But all of these sayings, what is their source? These are very powerful lines, basically. And they are taken either from his sermons and his writings. The sentence is so powerful, so meaningful, so eloquent, and so deep in the meaning that Sayyid Razi and people like him have taken that line out from that sermon, which itself is very impressive, but then this sentence is like a golden sentence, a highlight. So he takes out from that sermon and he puts him here in this chapter. So these lines which we are going to read, some of them are already mentioned in sermons or in his letters, and they are mentioned here again. Some of these brief sayings are Amirul Mu'mineen's answers to the questions of people. Sometimes people would ask him a question, and the answer of Imam was so concise, so brief, so to the point, only 1 line, 2 line, 3 line answer. So these sayings are answers given by Amirul Mu'mineen to the questions of people. Some of these things he made some comments in certain situations, and then they are recorded here. These are his brief comments in certain situations. All of these sayings, which are very brief in nature, but you can take any line of Amirul Mu'mineen and you can write a very detailed essay in the commentary of that one line of Amirul Mu'mineen. Scholars have said you can write even entire book on that one sentence or 2 sentences or 3 sentences of Amirul Mu'mineen are so deep that you can write entire book on that sentence. So we are going to discuss the first one. The first saying, he says, Kun fil fitnati kabnil laboon. No, that is not the text which we have. This is the explanation in Arabic. So the text of Amirul Mu'mineen is Kun fil fitnati kabnil laboon la dhahrun fayurkab wa la dhar'un fayuhlab. That concept is explained in these words in English or in Arabic, but this is the kind of commentary or kind of explanation of that saying of Amirul Mu'mineen. Now, what Amirul Mu'mineen is saying, during fitna, be like a 2-year-old baby camel who has neither a back strong enough for riding nor udder for milking. Is clear? Amirul Mu'mineen is advising, and basically this line also comes from a will which Amirul Mu'mineen had written down to his son Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. This is not the same will which we have in Nahjul Balagha. This will is quoted in Biharul Anwar and some other sources. In that wasiyat which Amirul Mu'mineen is doing to his son Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, he almost in the end of that wasiyat, he is saying, "O my son, during the times of fitna," I will explain. I'm purposely not translating this fitna. So, because they are translating as civil disturbance. Civil disturbance is also the meaning of fitna, but that's not the whole meaning of this word fitna. The word fitna, I will give you translation. It has so many translations. But let for time being, and this word is so famous and so used in our own languages that everyone knows what is fitna. So everyone is asking dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from the fitna. Amirul Mu'mineen is saying, during the times of fitna, be like a 2-year-old baby camel. Kun, be, fil fitna, in fitna, ka ibnil laboon. Ibn, like baby. Laboon in Arabic is that she camel which had a baby and she again got pregnant, and now she has again milk, and she is giving the milk to the new baby. That's why she is called laboon. Laboon comes from laban. This she camel is giving laban to the new baby, and the other baby is also still very young, and that is actually 2 years old. Why you should be like a 2 years old baby camel? Amirul Mu'minin says, because that baby camel is of no use. No one can ride on it and no one can milk it. So, you should be an individual that the people who are all leading the fitna and they are looking for people, they want to drag people in and you use them. You should be of no use for the people of fitna. Nobody should be able to use you or misuse you or abuse you. They should look at you of no importance, of no value, of no significance, so that you can be of anything or any help for them. Be so low profile, so much away from the center of the hustle bustle of that fitna. Be someone who is unknown at that time. Don't be in the center of activity. Be on the sidelines. Be quiet. Be low profile. Don't be a big mover and shaker in those bad times where you attract the attention and then they come to you and they twist your arm and use you for their bad agenda, or they make a temptation for you where you get used by them. So Amirul Mu'minin is saying that when there is a fitna going on, now, to understand the word fitna, originally in Arabic, the root of this word fitna is that when you would put the gold in fire to see whether this is a, yes, this is the right one. This is the right saying what I am discussing. This is the saying from, this is the first saying. Now, when they were used to put the gold in fire to see that what part is the pure gold and what is the, that they would mix some metals with gold to separate the pure gold from the fake one. What they were used to do, they were used to put gold in fire. This was the meaning of fitna originally. The word was used for that purpose. Fatana, yani somebody put the gold in the fire to see what is true and what is fake. Then later on, this word fitna was used into the trials, tests, temptations, and fights, arguments, community divisions, because all these situations actually show you the reality of people, who is sincere and who is not sincere, who is true believer and who is weak believer, who is true and who is only pretending. So how people are known when they are going through fitna? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word more than 100 times in Quran. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tries you, tests you, puts you in hardships, puts you in difficulties, puts you in very difficult circumstances. Why does He do that? He wants to test you. He wants to see that how strong, faithful you are, how true believer you are. So this is why it is called fitna. But at the same time, this word is used for civil fights, civil divisions, arguments and internal fights and internal unrest. When there are two parties which are fighting against each other for their own agenda and they want to defeat each other, and in those times they always look around and they want to bring more people to fuel their movement, and they want helpers, they want supporters. So when these people who are fighting for their own greed, for their own cause, they will go around and they will look that who is here available or whom we can bring in our fight and ride on him or use him. Amirul Mu'mineen says in those times when they are looking for those simple people, naive people, to use them for their agenda and for their purpose, you should become a baby camel of no use for them. No one can ride on you, no one can milk you. And that is an advice of Amirul Mu'mineen to his son, to his followers, that in those trying times, difficult times, you should never be used by people who are fighting, competing, and with one another, and they have no positive agenda. No, some people, they misunderstood this saying, or they interpreted in wrong way, that any time when there is a war, any time when there is a fight, any time when there is two parties are, for example, fighting, then it is fitna, and you should just go away and become that baby camel. And while that is not true, when Aisha and Talha and Zubair, they came to Basra and they were getting ready to do rebellion against Imam Ali. Imam Ali had to now leave Medina and come in the Kufa and then ask people of Kufa to help him to face this threat. There were some naive people who were known as very pious people, and they had big imamas, big turbans, those long beards, big signs of sajda here, very, very pious people. And when they saw this situation, they said, this is fitna. On one side there is Ali, on the other side there is Aisha. He is brother of Prophet, he is wife of Prophet. This is fitna, and we are not going to join either one. The Islam says in the time of fitna, you should go to the caves, you should go to the valleys, you should go in the jungles, run away. Don't join any party when there is a fitna. So Abu Musa Ashari, he was the very big mover and shaker in the city of Kufa. He ended up motivating so many people to not join Aisha, not join Ali, and stand on the side because this is fitna. No, this was not the fitna. Fitna is when both parties are wrong, when both parties have the batil agenda, both parties are on batil, what they are fighting for is not right, at least one party is not on haq, it's not haq and batil, actually both are at batil. Like when Banu Umayyah and Banu Abbas were fighting against each other for the government. On one side it was Banu Umayyah, on the other side the emerging power was Banu Abbas. Our Imams didn't take any side, stood away from that fitna and encouraged their Shias to stay away from this. We are not on the side of Banu Umayyah and we are not on the side of Banu Abbas. Because our Imams knew Banu Abbas, they don't have any positive agenda, or they are in their heart, they are not sincere with Ahlul Bayt. All what they want is to push Banu Umayyah and sit on their place and grab the power. And as history has proven, Banu Abbas did more zulm against Ahlul Bayt more than Banu Umayyah. If you just put the Karbala on other side, Banu Abbas did more zulm against Ahlul Bayt than Banu Umayyah. So our Imams, Ahlul Bayt, they said, no, we are not going to be part of this. This is both batil, both have their wrong agenda. We don't want to be part of them. Later on also, time to time, you will see two parties fighting for their own worldly agenda or for their wrong agenda, and we are not supposed to be part of their fight. We are not supposed to be used for their agenda, and we need to stay away from that. Otherwise, the situation of Ali and Aisha and Talha and Zubair was different. If you look at Surah Al-Hujurat, I will just give you reference because we will not have time to get into the detail, but chapter 49, Surah Al-Hujurat, and ayat number 9. When you go back, you can look at it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا فَإِن بَغَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا عَلَى الْأُخْرَى فَقَاتِلُوا الَّتِي تَبْغِي حَتَّى تَفِيءَ إِلَى أَمْرِ اللَّهِ فَإِن فَاءَتْ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا بِالْعَدْلِ وَأَقْسِطُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if there are two groups of believers and if they are fighting against each other, your duty is to get involved and make peace among them. You need to make peace among them. But if one party out of those two is rebellious and is not listening to you and is unjust, then it is your duty to fight against that rebellious party until to bring it to the listening to the command of Allah and doing the right thing. And when they come back, of course, you have to do justice among them. So the point is, when two groups of believers are fighting, where one is right and one is wrong, now here you cannot say it is a fitna. And no, I have nothing to do with it. These two parties are fighting, let them fight. I will go and sit on the side because this is fitna. No, this is not fitna. This is the issue of haqq and batil. You have to stand up, first go and try to make peace among them, advise them. But if they don't listen, and if one party is listening and other is not listening, then you need to fight against that party which is rebellious and which is not listening. So you have to take the side. So the point is, what Amirul Mu'mineen was talking about, when both parties are wrong, when there is no haqq in it, it's batil on both sides, then it's a fitna. You don't want to be part of it. But when one is haqq and one is batil, then it's not fitna. You have to be able to decide and stand with the haqq and fight against the batil. Decide the salawat. So very briefly, what I conclude, my brothers and sisters, in order to practice this saying of Amirul Mu'mineen, in order to be able to put this saying of Amirul Mu'mineen in practice, kun fil fitnati kabnil laboon, a mu'min needs to be, first of all, informed. Be an informed believer. That you have the true information about what is going on, so that your decision is going to be based on the information. How much you know about what is going on. So a believer cannot afford to be someone who doesn't know what is going on. So So a believer has to be first of all informed, ba-khabar. The second thing, a believer must have basirat, insight. A believer is supposed to be basir, to be able to have wisdom and insight, that when is able to judge between this, whether this is a fitna or this is the haqq and batil issue. And now where should I stand? I should just go and stand away from it, or I should go and make peace among them, or I should go and join this party, or I should join that party. It needs insight. It needs wisdom. The third thing is, every believer must have the ability to decide. Many people cannot decide. They will be looking at it, they know, but they don't have the decision power. They cannot decide in those difficult circumstances. And a believer should be someone who can make the right decision at the right time. And the last thing is, my brothers and sisters, that a believer must have that much control on his own desires, on his nafs, that he can always make the right choice. And he can go and he can side the right side. Right now, what is going on, you know that. From last 2-3 days, it is all negotiations going on, and so many arms are being twisted, and so many people are being praised, and so many people are being threatened, and so many people are being bullied, and so many people are being offered so much benefits and so much stakes. Now here in these situations, you need not only that you need to be informed, and you need to be wise, and you need to be a person of insight, you need to be also a person of strong taqwa and piety, that you don't sell your conscience, you don't sell yourself and your iman, and just because you will be recognized and you will be included and you will be standing on the winning side and you will be given trophy and you will be given the medal and you will be praised by the world leaders that, oh, you were also part of this gang and everyone helped us and he was wonderful and thank you very much and all that. So one shouldn't be that weak that he sells himself and sells his conscience and just for those worldly gains and benefits joins the sides, this side or that side. So in order to live this saying of Amirul Mu'mineen, one has to be strong, has strong faith, has insight, has ability to analyze the situation properly, has ability to look at things and evaluate, and has the full information. So a believer which doesn't know what's going on, cannot analyze, cannot decide, or cannot take the right course in the difficult situations will end up by being used and misused by batil against the haqq. Recite a salawat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that wisdom, that insight, that strength of iman and the strength of character, that we can learn these beautiful lessons from Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam and live by his teachings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our sponsor for tonight's program. So for their sehat, salamti, khair wa barakat, please recite aloud salawat. Ziyarat waris. Tafwatillah. Assalamu alayka ya warisa Nuhin Nabiyullah. Assalamu alayka ya warisa Ibrahim Khalilullah. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن، بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة علي بن الحسين. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة جميع الشهداء. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداءه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة أبي الفضل العباس. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. ولعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام، فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر والأخ الدافع عن أخيه المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل، وألحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك مولاي يا أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك السبعة وعلى أبنائك الأربعة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.